The legend Marc Andre Leclerc was a fearless mountaineer who made history with his first winter solo ascent of Torre Eguer, one of the most difficult and dangerous peaks to conquer. He made the ascent despite the harsh conditions and the inherent danger of climbing without ropes or safety gear, and through mastery of his craft and his unwavering sprint, he enabled himself to conquer this impressive mountain with ease. In this video, we take a closer look at the terrible accident of climbing legend Marc Andre Leclerc and his story, so stay tuned. Marc Andre Leclerc might not be an easily recognizable name in the climbing community, but he was certainly one of the very best who was known for his excellent climbing skills and the ability to handle the most challenging terrains. Interestingly, he was one of the climbers who let his climbing speak for itself. Marc Andre Leclerc was born on October 10, 1992, in Fraser Valley, Nanaimo, BC, Canada, to Micheline Coopers and Serge Leclerc. He was diagnosed with ADHD and struggled all through his early years at school. This prompted his mother into homeschooling Marc Andre for most of his elementary education. Then, his mother would often wrap up these formal lessons early, taking her son to the mountains or forest to identify rocks and plants. And these experiences had a lasting experience on the boy. His love affair with climbing began right from the moment his grandfather gave him Chris Bonington's book, Quest for Adventure. The images of the tiny humans as they climbed the vast faces of snow and ice had a profound impact, fueling the child's imagination. His first climbing experience came via a wall in a shopping mall at age 9. Then later that year he joined a gym called Project Climbing in Abbotsford, British Columbia, and started climbing regularly. In 2005, Leclerc's family moved to Agassiz, near the Cascade Mountains. Here, Marc Andre began to teach himself how to mountain climb by biking out to the Harrison Bluffs and spending the night there. He started alone, in tennis shoes, and with little formal training. Eventually, Leclerc and a friend taught themselves piton craft and rope systems from old books. Then when he became 15 years old, his mother gifted him a copy of Mountaineering, The Freedom of the Hills, inspiring him to join the British Columbia Mountaineering Society. Soon, Marc Andre began entering competitions and dominating in his age bracket. Immediately after graduating from high school, Leclerc moved to the Canadian climbing mecca of Squamish, BC. He switched freely between climbing with his bare hands and ice axes, even in the most challenging situations. Marc Andre's movements look unlabored and free of the aftermath. His climbing followed no rule in particular and was an expression of joy for him. And if climbing is an art, this young man was undoubtedly a master. Marc Andre Leclerc was born on October 10, 1992 in Nanaimo, British Columbia. He developed a great passion for climbing at an early age. His grandfather gave him a copy of Chris Bonington's book Quest for Adventure, which sparked his interest. He began climbing regularly at the age of 9 at a Project Climbing gym in Abbotsford, British Columbia, where he quickly established himself as a rising star in the climbing community. He won the Canadian Nationals in 2005 and was an active member of the British Columbia Mountaineering Club throughout his high school years in 2009. At a young age, Leclerc's climbing skills were exceptional in that he broke Alex Honnold's speed record on the Grand Wall with a 57-minute solo and achieved a groundbreaking solo link-up with 3 routes on Mount Slessy in British Columbia in under 12 hours in 2014. He also made the first ascent records on their routes on the north face of Cerro Torre and Patagonia, and made the first reversed reverse of La Torres. He was considered one of the most talented climbers of his generation. One of the most impressive of his achievements was the first solo ascent, which was the Infinite Patience route on Mount Robson's Emperor's Face. Leclerc detailed everything about this experience, depicting the mountain's strong atmosphere and how they eventually became friends. He also noted how difficult it is to put such a profound experience into words, something many people can relate to regardless of whether they climb or not. In the same year, Leclerc made his first winter solo ascent of the East Pillar of Torre Eguer and Patagonia. The way Leclerc climbs in all seasons and all kinds of conditions is different from others. He looked like he was having fun and could easily switch between climbing with his bare hands and ice axes, even in the most challenging situations. His movements were enviable, smooth, and almost effortless. It was an expression of pour your pleasure. Ryan Johnson, who had been planning a 2,500-foot climb up Menindal Tower's main tower for several years, found a willing and skilled partner in March 2018. Marc Andre Leclerc. The entire course is difficult, with the last 750 meters consisting of an unexpected mix of ice, snow, and rock. Johnson was a true Alaskan climber. Hailing from the town of Juneau, he was known for his excellent skills. For example, he could sense even the smallest variation in wind speeds despite his small stature. He had a reputation for outwitting even the strongest men, thanks to his experience as a gold and silver miner in southeast Alaska at first daylight. On Sunday the 4th of March, a chopper from Coastal Helicopters landed on the Mendenhall Glacier, north of Mendenhall Towers. The weather that day was favorable, with a high-pressure area that would persist for at least 3 more. In addition, the snowpack seemed to be stable. These were the perfect conditions for Leclerc and Johnson to attempt the North Wall at the 2,500-foot main tower. Incredibly, the peak was taller than Yosemite's half dome, even in Alaska where everything stands big. The wall was tremendous. The north face of the main tower is known to be a formidable challenge, even in the best conditions. In late winter, it never took hold of the sun, and the wall terminates at a series of crevices that litter a 55-degree snowfield for a few hundred feet before flowing out into a flat expanse on the glacier. The thought of rock falling from the ridge was dizzying, as it would plunge a few thousand feet before bouncing down the snowy spur and coming to a stop a quarter mile from its initial landing. Leclerc and his climbing buddy Johnson had planned the climb carefully. They also safely stored all the gears they would need for the ascent the following day. They planned to ski 10 miles across the West Mendenhall Glacier before railing back to Juneau, and they planned to return no later than Wednesday night, hoping to make history on the north face of the main tower. Amazingly, they were both professional climbers who believed in moving rapidly and efficiently over unknown terrain. However, while making the ascent, they didn't bring a lot of their equipment with them. This was all because Leclerc was known for his minimalist approach during his month-long trips to Patagonia, where he had brought only 5 carabiners and 2 ice screws, less gear than most climbers take for a day on the main tower. When they cast their skis, an avalanche probed in the snow, attaching a reflective vest to the probe so they could locate it from high up on the face. They then decided to gear up and set off towards the black granite face. Johnson set up for the night in their tent at the top of the main tower, and they probably ate trail mix and used melted snow as drinking water. They would begin climbing again soon, as the first light of day arrived. Leclerc sent a text message to his girlfriend Brett Harrington, who was still in Tasmania. "Love, I'm at the summit. It was an incredible climb," he wrote. He sent her a few photos and posted them on Instagram. "Rare live update," here he wrote, accompanying a photo facing west, that is Mount Fairweather in the distance. He also sent his mother a photo of the surrounding summits. "Beautiful," she responded. "Where are you meanwhile?" Johnson filmed the scene to show his fiancée, who was not with him at the time. He turned in a circle in a cloudless view that stretched for hundreds of miles. A panoramic perspective of the beauty and grandeur of the Alaskan wilderness. Leclerc always called his girlfriend Harrington as soon as he was out of the mountains to let her know he was safe, but when Wednesday arrived and he didn't contact her, she began to worry and texted him, "I hope you're making it back okay. It's been a while since your summit message." When she didn't receive a response, she called Juneau Mountain Rescue to check in Juneau, a town of 32,000. That wasn't considered a climbing destination, but the community of climbers there was small and tight-knit, so many of the JAR members knew Johnson personally, and some had climbed with him. On Wednesday morning of the 7th of March, when JMR received Harrington's call, one of the jury members had spoken with Johnson before leaving for the towers, and reported that the men did not return until later that evening. Harrington thought she might be too anxious, but could not shake the feeling of concern. The next day, Harrington's phone rang and it was Gabe Hayden from JAR. Immediately, her heart skipped a beat as she took the call. Hayden told her they only found their skis. Hayden was a frequent climbing partner of Johnson's, and he told Harrington that a Coast Guard helicopter from Sitka had flown to the towers and scanned the north face surrounding the glacier with an infrared camera, trying to pick up any signs of body heat. The search resulted in nothing. No bodies were found. The assumption was that Leclerc and Johnson had descended the line they had climbed. On getting the disheartening news, Serge Leclerc, Marc Andre's father, posted a message on his Facebook page late Tuesday night. "Sadly, we have lost two great climbers, and I lost a son I'm very proud of," he wrote. Marc Andre was an amazing, loving man, and he has touched many lives in so many ways. Marc was mourned by his family, friends and girlfriend, and they have continued to honor his memory. What do you think about this disastrous story? Share your thoughts with us in the comments section below, and don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel for more disaster stories about mountaineering. Thanks for watching.